Hey everybody, Acid Rain 64 here, and welcome back to another part of Let's Play Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. In the last part, we talked about the wishing well, met the good bee, and took the old man up to his home on Death Mountain. And now we're going to go ahead and go further up this mountain, and the third dungeon is actually pretty far to the east on the mountain. But before we head there, we want to get some heart pieces. There's one up there that we can't get at the moment, but there's a series of caves that we can explore to hopefully get a piece of heart. Now, I'm not exactly sure how to get this one. Let's see. Okay, so we want to head to this entrance right here. And this one should eventually lead us to a piece of heart. Now, these caves on Death Mountain are something I don't know all too well. They are kind of confusing, but we picked the right one because we have the heart piece right here. Alright, and then we have a tablet for Saharasala. Link, it is I, Saharasala. You must somehow make your way to the top of Spectacle Rock. From there, you can reach the Tower of Hera on top of Death Mountain. Oh man, I was debating like what to do with his voice, because I've done like a couple of voices for him, and I forget which one I actually do the most. Okay, so we got a fairies fountain here, but we're gonna keep the good bee. Let me just make sure I have a fairy. Oh, I have 3 bottles now. All right, so we can go ahead and get another fairy while we're at it. Okay. So, let's go ahead and get out of here. But there's still another heart piece that we need to get. So we will get that, and then we will actually head into the third dungeon. And I think this dungeon is actually going to split up the third dungeon. Alright, did I say this? Oh my gosh. This part is going to kind of split up the third dungeon because I'm going to get this next heart piece in under, like, I think, in under 10 minutes. So, let's go ahead and, let's see. We want to go in here, into this warp. Oh, snap. And we become a bunny. Okay. So, welcome to the Dark World. This is the first time we'll have seen this. There's nothing really we can do here yet because we're just a bunny. We can't use any of our items. We can't pick up grass. We can just walk around. And we got these 2 people over here. So let's go ahead and talk to them. What do you want? Do you have something to say to me, silly rabbit? Tricks are for kids. I came here to get the power of gold, but now I'm a freak and I can't go back to the real world. If only I had the moon and pearl from the Tower of Hera, I could go back to my original shape. I've got good reason to be stressed out, so back off! Shoo shoo! Let's go and talk to this pink little guy. Oh? Who are you, Mr. Bunny? This world is like the real world, but evil has twisted it. The golden power is what changed your shape to reflect what is in your heart and mind, which is apparently a bunny. I am always changing my mind, so I turned into a ball. But if you have a ball called the Moon Pearl, you can keep your original shape here. Yeah, so that is what we're aiming to get. Now, if this... dang it, I don't want to talk to you. So, if this little area here looks familiar, that's because it's that rock that we passed to get to the heart piece, to the cave that led to the heart piece, which was down here. But what we want to do is get that mirror out that the old man gave us, and we can go ahead and use it, and it warps us back to the light world, which is what that item is mainly going to be used for. So, you actually have to do this. I completely botched that. Okay, so let's try this again, shall we? Alright, so we can go ahead and get this heart piece, which is pretty much a freebie, because you have to warp to that point. If we come over here, I believe we can use the Book of Medora and read this thing here. Hold up the Master Sword and you will get the magic of either. Yeah, well, we really don't have the Master Sword, so we can't do that. But we will come back here and get that item later. Because it's actually one of the 3 medallions that you can get. Now, we could go east of here, but there's nothing we can really do. Eventually, we'll get to a point to where we can't go any further. So, I think we'll go ahead and start the next dungeon in this part. So, let's go ahead and do this. Alright, so welcome to the 3rd dungeon. This dungeon, I should say, introduces this mechanic with these orbs and switches and whatever else you want to call them. And I really like this dungeon. It doesn't exactly beat the 2nd dungeon in my opinion, but it is still really good. Yeah, it's pretty intricate too. And it can be a little difficult if you don't know exactly what you're doing. But if you know what you're doing, then this dungeon is an extreme piece of cake. There's mainly going to be a lot of these switch puzzles, or orbs. I don't even know what you want to call them, but they control the panels on the floor. And there's a couple different ways you can go. The second floor and the second and first floor really aren't that big of a deal when you look at the rest of the dungeon. But here we get our map, and we can go ahead and see that this dungeon has a total of 6 floors, which is pretty crazy. But some of them are just the upper level and lower level of like the same room, so that makes it not too difficult at all. Okay, can I use the boomerang on this guy? No, I can't. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk to Sarasla. I have some advice. In the dungeons, you can gaze into the magic mirror to return to the entrance at any time. Do not forget this. Alright. So it's not really a huge deal. Yeah, you can if you need to go back to the entrance of a dungeon, you can just use the magic mirror, and it'll warp you back here. Let's go ahead and go up here, because I'm not sure where this actually goes. Okay, so back to the first floor again, and I really think that you do have to come here. Now, these magic tiles, or magic floor tiles, whatever you want to call them, they always annoyed me for the longest time until I realized that you can just break them with your sword. So as long as you can slash your sword before they get to you, you can deflect them and win, which is really awesome, because that makes it pretty easy. Okay. So once we've dealt with those, we'll go ahead and deactivate that, and we can come into this room, which leads us to another room. Wonderful. I think this is just going to give us a key or something, or the boss key, which is why you do have to come here. So, like, my take with this dungeon is to clear out the first and second floor first, and then start heading up, because up is where the boss is, and the dungeon item, and everything else that we're going to need to get. So, alright, let's go ahead and get the boss key, the big key. I don't know why they didn't just name it the boss key, but I figured that they thought that since it would be since the key would open up the treasure chest for the dungeon item and the boss door, that they would just call it the big key, since it does a lot of things. Okay, get out of here. Oh, alright, well there's one fairy down. Now, using fairies in this dungeon isn't such a big deal, because there is actually a fairy fountain in the basement of the dungeon, which is really good, and it does prove really useful. Because the boss of this dungeon isn't really that hard, but it is very, very, very annoying, and you'll see why once we get there. Oh, are you... Okay, wait, I think I can actually... No, okay, that sucks. We are gonna have to go back down and hit that orb again. Oh boy. Yeah, so I mean, if you don't have the orbs in the right color, then that could really mess you up. Because you have to make sure the right switches are down, and all that crazy stuff. But anyways, let's go ahead and head up to the 3rd floor again. And now we meet these guys right here, which can only be damaged by your sword. And I don't know what in the world these things are called, but they're going to be staple enemies from now on, because we'll see them in every other dungeon. And they are pretty annoying. I didn't hit that switch, which I don't really have to. Now here we have these star panels, which change how the floor looks in this dungeon. And I think they might only be in this dungeon, maybe another one, but they are pretty annoying. And the good thing is that only Link can activate them, which means that we don't have to worry about enemies stepping over them and completely screwing us up. Alright, so going on up to the 4th floor. And this is where things start to get a little crazy, because now we got tons of mini Moldorms, which kind of hint to what the boss is going to be. Hint, hint. Alright, and we got ourselves a compass as well. And more talk from Sarasala. An orb known as a moon pearl is in this tower. Whoever holds the moon pearl is protected so that his form will not change in the dark world. You must find it and escape from the tower. Don't forget the moon pearl. Yeah, so you can actually complete this dungeon without getting the dungeon item, but the dungeon item is completely required for the rest of the game, and it is a very important item that you honestly you kind of forget that you have it, but it is very important. All right, so now we have this floor, which has a bunch of these holes you can fall through, and you want to fall through this one, which will lead us here, and we can get ourselves a moon pearl. So it's as simple as that. Just make sure you fall down from the 3rd floor. Now, one thing you can actually do, I believe, if you go up on this next floor, is you can get yourself to that fairy fountain I mentioned. So we want to fall through, I believe, this hole right here. Nope, not that one. Maybe it was that one. Nope, it was the one above it. Darn it. I could have had it right there, but okay, let's try this again, shall we? With less fail. Alright, this hole right here. And then we will fall through a series of pots, which somehow lead to the floor below them. I don't really know if that's a very... I think that might be a pillar, but I always thought it was just a giant pot. But we fall all the way down to the bottom, and we find ourselves some fairies. So let's go ahead and replace the one that we lost. And then we will go ahead and go back up to this floor, which it conveniently warps you back up here, which is great. Alright, so there's a bunch of walls with cracks in them. You can't bomb those, as far as I know, and I just fell down. Again, totally unintentional. But yeah, don't bother bombing any of those walls because they don't do anything as far as I know. Yeah, so that's just kind of something to distract you, I guess. But what we want to do is head up here to the boss. Now these pots right here are filled with hearts, and those are going to be useful if you happen to fail at the boss fight. But they do not respawn. Once you use up all, how many are there? 12 of them, then you're out of luck. You can't really do anything. So anyways, let's go ahead and come up here. And we have the boss right there. Meet Moldorm. Okay, so this boss isn't a doozy, but he's not very hard. What you have to do is you have to hit his tail, and if you hit him, then he will bounce you off the edge. Now, once he starts moving really fast, we'll know that we've pretty much defeated him. But if you happen to be knocked off the edge, you will just be knocked down to the floor below you, which is the floor we were just at. Oh god! Oh gosh, that was really close. Whew. Maybe that was a little bit of an overreaction, but I didn't want to be knocked down to the floor below us. But anyways, that was Moldorm, and we have now completed all 3 dungeons at the beginning of the game. So, whew, it's quite an accomplishment in less than 10 parts, if I do say so myself. You won the Pendant of Wisdom. With this, you have collected all 3 pendants. Go down to the Lost Woods to get the Master Sword. Sweet. So, if you didn't get the Moon Pearl, make sure you go back there and get it, or else you really won't be able to progress too much further in the game. But yeah, so we completed the 3rd dungeon of the game. We got ourselves all 3 pendants, and now we're ready to go get the Master Sword, which we will do in the next part. So I will see you guys then.